What you see before you is the result of some poor planning on my part. A 2002 Peugeot 106 1.1 Independence, affectionately known as Dumpit. Been on the channel for about a year now. A 2008 Daihatsu Sirion 1 litre S. S is bottom of the range. Been on the channel for probably nearly the same actually. What you see here are two cars that are doing the job of one. This is stupid. Why have we got two cars doing the job of one? How has that ended up being the case? Well, it's quite simple. The daily family car that we had was a Ford S-Max 2.5T Titanium. Now this was a bit MPV 5-seater thing or 7-seater thing, good for carrying the kids and the family around and everything like that. Had it for 10 years, it's been a great car, but the one thing it couldn't do is short journeys. The economy would drop to like 20 to the gallon at best. It would gum up the rocker cover, it would gum up the engine. It doesn't like doing short journeys, it's not made for it, it's made for long distance driving. And so we thought, instead of let's sell it and get something cheaper to run, let's not sell it, let's park it up and only use it when we all need the car together, and then for daily snotters we'll have one each. Me and my wife. Me, my wife. What? Well, it turns out that the S-Max, well, it's knackered basically, it's dead. It's rusted through. It's doing what Fords do and it is rusted into oblivion, and we have replaced the S-Max already. Exciting times. So what's this got to do with this? Well, the car we've replaced the S-Max with is much more simple in terms of the sun shining in my face. The car we've replaced the S-Max with is much cheaper to run. It could be used daily. So really, we don't need both of these. So I'm here to ask a question. Of these two cars that you see, which is best? Or which is worst? Because whichever one is worst, well, is going. Getting rid of it. In order to figure out which one's better, I'm going to go through them both test by test. Ride, handling, performance, cup holders. Basically, whichever one scores most at the end wins. It is literally a case of may the best car win. So before we get going, let's look at your contenders. We have a 2002 Peugeot 106 1.1 Independence 3-door. Finished in Iceland silver, that is called. It doesn't look silver to me, it looks light blue. I was given this car free by a viewer. Thank you very much, Paul. I think his name was Paul. It needed a little bit of work and I've done a little bit of work on it. And I'm really happy with how it is now. The gear change wasn't very good, I sorted that. The spare wheel cradle was hanging off because the hanger had rusted off. I sorted that. What else was there? I've changed the tailgate. It's got a tailgate on it that's not rusty anymore. It's in really good condition. It's only done 46,000 miles. It's so good underneath. It's like one of the best shells I've seen. It's had a little bit of welding in the corners, but nothing major. It's starting to bubble up there, and the lacquer's gone on the roof. So really, that's the worst bit. The rest of it, apart from I think it's had a repair down there, other than that, it's remarkably straight and original, and I like it for that. It is a dear little chap. It was christened Dumpit in honour of the OG Dumpit, which was a Citroen Saxo that I never drove. If you want to know any more about that, the full story of it is in the reveal of this car. The video went out about a year ago now, explaining the whole Dumpit concept. But in essence, Dumpit is, you can dump it. You don't care. It doesn't matter. Station car, snotter, smoker, whatever you want to call it. Something you don't get attached to, but doesn't let you down. You respect it without falling in love with it. That's kind of what this is. Oh, that's such a good looking little car. I think it's just because new cars are getting worse looking, but that looks really smart. This is a 2008 Daihatsu Sirion. Yeah. This car was bought last year by my wife. We paid about, I don't know, I can't remember, 600 quid, something like that. Bought it with very short MOT and took a punt. 106,000 on it at the moment. I think it done about 102 when we bought it. Yeah, I can't, it's got wheels, 5-door, see, it's got a door and the boot as well. It's got wheel, no, I've done that. all joking aside, the Sirion was brought in for one purpose, and that purpose was to be another Dumpit, to be the same kind of thing, not cared about. It can just be dumped anywhere. She was doing a training course for about a year, and basically needed a car that she could leave in any old car park in any old area and not worry about it. And it has certainly been that. You can leave that absolutely anywhere. No one cares. You could leave the keys in it and come back and it will still be there. I think the thing really is to hit the road and see what they're like out there, because where I'm sitting at the moment, I'm kind of thinking that it would just make much more sense to keep that. Well, from a simple running cost point of view, it's hard not to give this one to the Sirion, for a very simple reason. This car costs £35 a year to tax. Dumpit, the 106, costs, well, about £18 a month. So in 2 months, it costs more to tax that 106 than it does to tax this Daihatsu. Despite the fact this Daihatsu is almost certainly pumping more out of the exhaust than the 106 is. The running costs, I mean, in every other regard, they're pretty similar. I'm going to encompass reliability in running costs, because at the end of the day, poor reliability means high running costs. To be honest with you, they've both been pretty much the same. The Sirion has a knock at the front and some horrible brake noises because the sliders on the calipers are worn away. Like that. But nothing's actually gone wrong with it. I mean, the alternator did when we first got it. I forget exactly what the problem was, but I had to change it. And the fuel gauge doesn't work properly. So it gets down to the bottom 3 bars. Whoa! And then you run out of fuel, which is useful. 106, less, to be honest. The only issue I know of on the 106 is I think the aerial's leaking when it rains. Every now and then it gets a little bit wet, but that's quite easy to fix. You just take the aerial off and put a bit of sealant around it and put it back on again. Even if we take into account things like fuel economy, because you'd think that being a 1 litre 3-cylinder more modern engine, this Daihatsu would be better on fuel, especially if the manufacturer's book figures are anything to go by. It's not the case. It's about 40 to the gallon out of the Daihatsu, and that's probably because you're having to push your foot down. It doesn't like driving at low revs, so you can't use the torque like you can in the 106. You can drive the 106 in a really high gear. You can be in 5th gear by 25 miles an hour and just poodle around everywhere. And as a result, in the 106, around town, you'll easily get 40 to the gallon. You might even get 45. It's really very good. Whereas this, not so much. You can't leave it in a higher gear because the gearing is taller. So if you do that, you lose performance. But if you rev it, you lose fuel economy, and also it makes a horrible noise. But we keep going back to that road tax. Vehicle excise duty. This car, rightly or wrongly, and in my opinion, wrongly, the excise duty thing needs a bloody good shake-up and a really good look at by people who actually know about cars and what they're doing. But in the here and now, within the confinements we have, the Sirion wins on running costs. In terms of fun, that's one area where Dumpit has the Daihatsu well and truly beaten. Largely because the Daihatsu is not very fun. Dumpit is very fun. It's just a much happier place to be. It's humble. It's just like, I don't know, it's the blue dials, the blue seats, the kind of cheeky little persona of the car. The fact it's kind of like a bit of an older car. It's almost like, I'm not going to say it's a classic because that's going too far, but it's kind of era of car. Some of them are being regarded as classics now. People regard AX GTs as classic. That's what this is underneath, kind of. The difference between this and the Daihatsu on the road is the difference between enjoying the drive and not enjoying the drive. Daihatsu will get you from A to B perfectly well. If anything, maybe slightly easier than this. It's an easier car to drive than this, but we don't want A to B, do we? We're sort of you know, why not have a daily car that puts a smile on your face at the same time? I mean, there was something the French just used to put in their cars, a certain something, I don't know what, but like, you could say, well, the Daihatsu is just a cheap little easy to drive car, it's just a cheap little granny shopping car, but in theory, so was this. That said, does fun really matter? Because you spend most of your life on the road like this. But let's pretend for a minute that I'm not behind people. Can the Sirion hold a candle to the 106? I mean, it's similar curb weight, it's got a wheel in each corner. Very simple car. If you think about it, the ingredients are the same, so, or not, if not the same, very, very similar, so surely this could hold a candle to the 106. Round the bends, and sort of just, you know, in terms of how enjoyable it is to drive, how much fun it is to drive. No, so the Sirion is anti-fun. It has just no anything. It just is. The steering is, there's no bite in the steering at all. None. Absolutely none. It might as well be fly-by-wire with no force feedback on. The driving position is, it's like you're sitting on a dining room chair. It's really high up, the seats aren't supportive. It runs out of guts. I mean, every time you get to a hill you have to change down. I'm not used to this. I drive like old Peugeots. They just trod along quite merrily wherever you ask them to. And this has got more power. Don't forget, on the rolling road, this car produced more power than the 106. This does do better handbrake turns than the 106, but I don't really think that's a category that I can include. But no, it's just not like the 106, just kind of the way it zips between gears and is always eager and keen to impress, keen to make, you know, put a smile on your face. This isn't that. As I say, you bolt upright, you're really high, surrounded in grey plastic. It's not what you'd call a fun, happy machine. If you're not into cars, if you like, and you know, you just want a sensible machine to do a job, Daihatsu Sirion. Definitely. But Dumpit, the 106, shows that you can have the same thing, but make it fun at the same time. So in terms of fun, that's another one down at Dumpit. Oh, bloody hell. I've definitely brought it down the right road to test the ride quality, which in the Peugeot is alright. And you're expecting me to have said it's amazing because it's an old Peugeot, but it's not quite as amazing as you'd think. Ultimately, it doesn't matter because wherever you go in life, you're always going to be stuck behind a Suzuki Ignis. Which way is he going? He's going that way, right? I'm going the other way. Powered by fairy dust. Well, you need to get some higher octane fairy dust. Oh. So that would surprise you. You'd think that the 106 would be the softer car of the two, but it's not. It's stiffer. That surprises me. Well, it doesn't surprise me because I knew it. But before I knew it, it would have surprised me. You know, you'd think that the Peugeot would be the sort of high-riding, softly sprung, wallowy kind of designed to take the cobbled streets on three wheels with valve bouncing on the bonnet kind of situation, and it really isn't that. It's actually quite taut. Maybe the earlier 106s might not have been. They might have, you know, been softer than this, but this last of the line 1.1 Independence feels pretty, yeah, it feels pretty taut. So you'd think, oh, does that mean the Daihatsu rides better? Does the Daihatsu ride better than the 106? No. Yeah, so you would think that because this car is softer, it's more comfortable. It's not. It's more fidgety. I'll tell you what isn't as good as well, but I haven't actually included that, is the brakes. The brakes are not as good in this as they are in the 106, for whatever reason. And not many people say that about 106s, but... Sorry, I'm just going back to the cornering again. It's really not nice at all. It's just... it's like pushing a shopping trolley on a really smooth surface. Anyway, yeah, what was I doing? Ride comfort. Yeah, it's softer than the 106, but it's not as well controlled. It's like the 106 is really well damped. It goes over rough surfaces, doesn't get ruffled. This does. It gets thrown out if you're braking over bumps. Doesn't like it. It's just, it should be more comfy, but it isn't. It's choppier. I don't know what it is. I mean, we have to be fair. The 106 has done 46,000 miles. The Daihatsu's done 106,000 miles. And I don't know how old the shock absorbers are in it. It might be slightly tired. But just comparing the two cars side by side as I have them now, yeah, no, I think that's another one Dumpit wins. It does ride better. Overall, all things considered, rides better than Daihatsu. So that is another win for Dumpit. What about comfort in the car? Well, the seats are in the 106, they're more comfortable. They're slightly more supportive. The driving position is slightly nicer. The pedals are in a bit of a funny position because these cars were not designed to be right-hand drive, they were designed to be left-hand drive. And in a left-hand drive car, you wouldn't have the problem, but in the right-hand drive car, you do. So, yeah, the pedals are a little bit cramped, but that doesn't matter. I've only got like size 8, size 9 feet. So, steering wheel position and everything, that's nicer. It's a more comfortable car to sit in, I would say, than the Daihatsu is. The seat fabric in the Daihatsu feels quite high quality, or the padding in it feels quite high quality, which is really strange. But other than that, I think the 106 has still got it licks, because this seat is really kind of upright, and although there's more kind of, I think there's more interior space in here, this feels like it's right here. It feels really tight. Yeah. I mean, the controls are all kind of, you know, the indicator, the stalks and things are great. They all fall to hand nicely. Speedo, yeah, it's quite a funky little design, and that works all right. Everything else is kind of within reach, except the gear lever, which is all the way down there. Like most cars, you can get, if you take your thumb and your finger, no, your thumb and your little finger, and try and do like one of them teenage poses that you do now, where like someone takes a photo of them and instead of smiling they go west side when they live in like Byron Close or something like that. Yeah, if you take your little finger and your thumb, I can't touch the steering wheel and the gear lever simultaneously, which you can in most cars. I'm getting a bit depressed driving it. Clouds look dark. There's a dead bird. I wonder how many people have died down here in car crashes. I've slowed down. I'm doing 45 now. Is this why people who drive these cars tend to be of a certain generation, demographic, who drive in a certain way? Because maybe they're just depressed. I'm feeling depressed. Well, what about performance? Is there a difference between Dumpit and the Daihatsu in terms of speed? Well, if you look at all the book figures and things, there's not a million miles in it, but when you drive them, it does feel kind of different. And that's because the book figures aren't entirely representative of normal real-world driving. I mean, who does a 0 to 60 test every day? Who launches it from a standing start up to 60 miles an hour? on a frequent basis. Well, I probably do that, but I don't do it in Dumpit and I don't do it in the Daihatsu very often. So what I'm wondering is which one of these actually has more useful performance. So to that end, I've devised a custom test. 15 to 50 in third gear. Basically, I'm going to drive down the road in third gear. I'm going to floor the throttle. At 15 miles an hour, my little app will start counting. And at 50 miles an hour, it'll stop again. And it will record the time. I think Dumpit will be a lot faster than Daihatsu. But there's only one way to find out. Let's go and drive responsibly. Right, cup holder test time. This is a very simple test. How many cup holders does each car have? The car that has more wins. Dumpit has none. Over to the Daihatsu, and already one in that door as well. So that's 2. That's how counting works. 3, 4. We're not done yet. 5, 6. 6 cup holders. 1 more cup holder than there are seats. Ever seen a door that flexes when you put the window up and the mirror moves? Movable door card. dump it. Space in the front is pretty good. Space in the back is witchcraft, because I've been in big cars that have got less space inside than this. I've got that much space, which is, in units of measurement, it's about half a banana. No armrest admittedly, but these seats do tilt. Looking at this one is slightly less tilted than that one. I don't know how they've done this, to be honest. I think I might be the crumple zone if there was a crash, but yeah, the Daihatsu wins the space thing hands down, easily. Well, I don't know about you, but I make that about 6.3. With a scoreline like that, it's fair to say Dumpit has won the test. Dumpit is the better car. And so the car I'm keeping is the Sirion. Why? Okay, I'll do that. There are four, don't know what that was, there are four main reasons why the Daihatsu is the victor in this battle. Do you want to know what they are? Well, the first one is the most telling. £18 a month to tax, £35 a year. I said it before, it's the system. The system is broken. Don't hate the player, hate the game. The game. If it was £35, £18 a month, it would be the other way around. But it's not just that. This car has aircon, which doesn't work, but it could, in theory, have aircon. And also, this car has 5 doors, and we know it has more space inside. That's good, because my eldest is 5'10", and getting bigger. Don't know where he's getting it from. So yeah, that in terms of being sensible, the Daihatsu is the proper, if that is the correct car to keep over this, despite the fact that I love this, as does my 5'10" son. He also loves that car, but unfortunately it isn't the right thing to... Oh no, there's one other reason. Reason number 4. Right, okay, I can show you reason number 4. It's quite an easy one, actually. In fact, it might, and you could argue that it's the most sort of telling reason. So if I start Dumpit, starts fine, obviously. Despite the fact it's a cold engine, nothing. Until I watch the edit back tonight and have a kitten. And now our fully warmed up Daihatsu no one's going to buy that. Jesus, that's actually all come out of that car. That's in fact, you're going to have to see that. I've got to do that again, because that was way worse than I thought it was going to be. Once more for the sports fans. Ready? Someone having a barbecue around here? Right. That's why the 106 is going. Because it doesn't do that. Put simply, Dumpit has to go because it's better. Simple as that. No one's going to buy that. But someone might buy this. Now, if we go back to earlier on in the video at the beginning where I said this car was donated to me, it was donated to me. So some people might be watching this thinking, that's a little bit odd, isn't it? Like, you've been given a car for free and now you're going to try and sell it? Shouldn't you give it away? Well, no, piss off. The way I've looked at this is, well, there's two ways I've looked at this. Number one, I've done some work on this car, and before this car goes up for sale, well, I mean, it is effectively up for sale now, but before it goes to a new owner, I'm going to renew the cam belt and give it a full service. Okay, and we're going to film that. Also, this car and the Daihatsu, well, if we'd bought them both sort of recently, they'd have been about the same money. Now, that one's probably worth a bit more than Daihatsu, because I didn't realise the Daihatsu was that smoky. So, yeah, basically, the donation of a car is effectively covering one of these cars. They both came in about the same kind of time and have done the same kind of job, and have done the same kind of mileage. They've both done about 4,000 miles this year. So, yeah, basically, the thing that's been paid forward to me will continue to be paid forward. I will try and pay forward what I can, but unfortunately I'm not in a financial position to be able to pay things forward like other people who can just give cars away, although I have given cars away fairly recently. But in any case, I'm going to do some work on this car, the labour of which would have meant that everything I've done from day one that I got it until now, the labour would amount to roughly what the car's worth. So it's paid itself off, which means I'm basically being paid for my labour and the car is going for free. And that's how I'm selling it to myself. We'll do service and everything like that, but the MOT's already done. That was done fairly recently, and to be honest, it doesn't really need anything doing. Although we do need to speak about Dumpit. You might be saying, why do you need to speak about Dumpit? It's there. You just spoke about it. No, you see, Dumpit is not a thing. It's not an object. It's not a car. Dumpit is a being, a state of existence. Dumpit is something you can apply to something. A car can be Dumpit. A car can be a Dumpit. No car is Dumpit personified, except OG Dumpit. So technically this is the first Dumpit, Dumpit the first. Which means that if I'm getting rid of this car and it's being decommissioned from the fleet and going off to just being a Peugeot 106 again, then the Daihatsu must be Dumpit the second.